Good afternoon, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. I want to get on today and talk about your, quote, right to travel. Regardless of what kind of plates that you might display on your automobile, motor vehicle, whatever, people have problems with being able to prove the origin of your right to travel and what is wrong with the government direction of licensing, insurance, and plating of automobiles as motor vehicles. So let me explain something about import, export, and Entrepot. When it comes to the automobile manufacturers, what they are doing is they are performing a contract with the government, and they are in fact leasing brand new vehicles, noted as vehicle, with the intent. Look at your when you go out and buy a brand new car, look at the lease agreement. It is a lease agreement, not a loan. And they have changed the wordings to make it look like a loan, but in fact is a lease agreement wherein the automobile manufacturers have imported the vehicles for an intended purpose. And that purpose is not for export and not for resale. Look at the details in those loan documents, and you'll see this. What that's referring to is the right of Entrepot. In other words, as an American national, I have the right of having something brought to my doorstep by another party without interference. Period. The problem is when people go to these automobile dealerships and they think they're buying a new car, what you are in fact doing is signing over to become the leaseholder because you signed a document that said not for export and not for resale. Or excuse me, it's not for export, and I think the wording is actually for resale. So when you look at that document, look, and its intent is that you're going to keep it as a reseller and to sell it under commercial terms of the United States where it was imported to. You have to have a license. That license is the identification. The identification is a marketable title under the United States. And that is the license for import and export, so there can be taxation. But I want to read something to you, and this is out of the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. And it's government de facto. Under government de facto, it says government instrumentality document or doctrine. The doctrine of government instrumentality. The instrument is the license. It's the financial instrument that says you are qualified to perform commercially. However, it goes on to say the doctrine that government instrumentalities are tax exempt. So what are the import and export taxes all about? Aren't these questions you people should be paying attention to? I hope you're paying attention to what I'm telling you, because if you're going to go out and buy another brand new car at the local car dealership, realize you're not buying the car. You're leasing it for your private use on the condition that you're going to use it at least 50% of its time in the conduct of trade or business, which is therefore defined under the tax code as the performance of the functions of a public office. That means when you go to that dealership to buy a car and you present them identification, you are in fact already performing the functions of a public office. And this is what they're not disclosing. This is why I urge you, quit signing what you're not reading and what you're reading but not comprehending and simply signing because you need that fucking car. What you're doing in effect by not doing your research is not only have you already enslaved yourself, you are enslaving your younger generations by not learning it so you can teach it to them. Pay attention. When we talk about these things, it's because we have a problem with them. And we don't see what it means when it says government direction. Let me read this one. Government de facto is a government of fact. Government de jure is a government of right. The next one, let me see if I can find it. Oh, govern. The word before government, govern. Let's look at govern. And you can find this in any dictionary, not just Black's Law Dictionary. Look up in all of your dictionaries that you have and look up govern. And I guarantee you it will use a like term, a synonymous term to direct and control the action or conduct of. Govern. To direct. What is direct? And the word before it means to. That's an action word. And it says two rules. Direct is two. Die being dual. Rect being rules. So a government gives you two rules. What choice are you going to make? Are you going to follow the rules of import and export? Or are you going to stand by your rule, the rule that is established firmly, without direction, of Entrepot? And I state here clearly from the King James Version of the Bible, Psalms 121 verse 8, Thy Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in forevermore. And that's what we talk about, thy coming in and thy going out and thy coming in. You have the right to come in and go out. And whatever you happen to be carrying, or whatever device you use, upon going out and then going forward to your next port, your next stopping point, without being ported in the meantime, stopped, arrested, detained, for any reason, is a violation of that. No matter how they want to imply it. Even if you did go out to a car lot and buy a car, and it was discerned or determined or ascertained by someone else that it is a motor vehicle, if it is not your determination, then it needs merely to be clarified. And that's the problem. People don't know how to clarify these things because they don't know the origins. Everybody's talking about the import and export and are not listening when I try. And I've been talking about Entrepot for months, and nobody's asking anything about it. Why? Why? Do you not understand what Entrepot is? Do you not comprehend what Entrepot is? And therefore it's not worth researching because you already think you know what import and export means in accordance to the tax stamp and your right to be able to put your own mark or seal on your own documents? That's not the entirety of it. You have to keep going. You cannot stop. Once you stop, you start dying. Once you quit educating yourself, you start dying. And this is why I try to tell people of the younger generations, once you graduate from high school, don't quit. If you go to college, great. If you go on for your second degree in college, great. If you continue on in college, great. But please, continue educating yourself in every manner possible outside of the direction of any education system. Quit letting them give you two sets of rules without realizing that there are two sets of rules. If you think that the import and export is the only option you've got, you've been bamboozled, you've been bugged, you've been spoofed, you've been scared, you've been indoctrinated, you've been propagandized, you've been educated properly. Per. Forward, per. Per for the ward. The person. Every time you see that PER, it's per. It's a part. It's a partial. It's a partiality. It's a partition. Anytime you hear anything, land deeds, oh my God, this whole block was partitioned. Well, who owns the whole block then? If I only own a part of it, who owns the whole block? Who's claiming to own the whole block? Who's claiming that they have the right to sell that property? Anybody has a right to sell the property. Anybody can sell any property that they possess as long as they truthfully possess it themselves. However, Leviticus 25, verse 23 says, the land shall not be sold forever, for it is mine, and ye are sojourners in it with me. Leviticus 25, verse 24 goes on to say, pay attention, folks. All you people that believe you're homeowners, Leviticus 25, this is King James Version, and in all the land of your possession ye shall grant a redemption for the land. Let's read Leviticus. And the Lord called unto Moses, and spake unto him out of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, if any man of you bring an offering unto the Lord, ye shall bring your offering of the cattle, even of the herd and of the flock. In his offering be a burnt sacrifice of the herd, Let him offer a male without blemish. He shall offer it of his own voluntary will at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord, not a tax before the tax collector at a church door. And he shall put his hand upon the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted for him to make atonement for him. And he shall kill the bullock before the Lord and the priests, Aaron's sons, and shall bring the blood and sprinkle the blood round and upon the altar that is by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he shall flay the burnt offering and cut it into peers. And I want people to realize here, this is the Old Testament. We have a new way of offering sacrifices, and this is the confusion. We are brought into this sacrifice of taxation and believe that is our sacrifice. That is totally obsolete. It is not the correct rule. It is the direction of government, and not the true blessing of being able to sacrifice of yourself. And the sons of Aaron and the priests shall put fire upon the altar and lay the wood in order upon the fire. And the priests, Aaron's sons, shall lay the parts, the head, and the fat in order upon the wood that is on the fire, which is upon the altar. But his inwards and his legs shall be washed in water, and the priest shall burn all on the altar to be burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto the Lord. He no longer wants that sweet savor unto him by the fire of an offering. He wants you to sacrifice the fire within you, the light within you, by shining it as brightly as you can, speaking his truth. That is your sacrifice. Sacrifice your body in his word. And if his offering be of the flocks, namely of the sheep or of the goats for a burnt sacrifice, he shall bring it a male without blemish. And he shall kill it on the side of the altar, northward before the Lord and the priests. Aaron's son shall sprinkle his blood round and upon the altar, and he shall cut it in pieces. Excuse me. With his head and his fat, and the priest shall lay them in order on the wood that is on the fire, which is upon the altar. But he shall wash the inwards and the legs with water, and the priest shall bring it all and burn it upon the altar. It is a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto the Lord. This is yourself now in the new covenant. Your eyes should burn in the enemies. And if the burnt sacrifice for his offering to the Lord be of fowls, then he shall bring his offering turtle doves or of young pigeons. And the priest shall bring it unto the altar and wring off his head and burn it on the altar, and the blood therefore shall be wrung out at the side of the altar. And he shall pluck away his crop with his feathers and cast it beside the altar on the east part of the place, or east part by the place of ashes. And he shall cleave it with the wings thereof, but shall not divide it asunder. And the priest shall burn it upon the altar, upon the wood that is upon the fire. It is a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. This is the total conversion of the Old Testament and New Testament's covenant that we see today in this taxation. Verse 25, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, teach them, when ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard, and gather in the fruit thereof. It does not say the Sabbath is on a single day. It says 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard, and gather in the fruit thereof. It mentions nothing about a day of Sabbath there. Your sowing is for 6 years. But in the 7th year shall be a Sabbath, of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for the Lord. Thou shalt neither sow thy field nor prune thy vineyard. This is what they do with the today's farmers in their industrial farming and crop rotation. They believe that's the rest. That is not the rest of the Sabbath. You're supposed to let the land come back as the land. And then after that land has come back for a year, then you can plow it again. This brings forth the nutrients to the top of the soil by the plants. And the Sabbath of the land shall be meat for you, for thee, and for thy servant, and for thy maid, and for thy hired servant, and for thy stranger that sojourn with thee. The stranger that sojourn with thee, and for thy cattle, and for the beasts that are in thy land, shall all the increase thereof be meat. This is the prosperity, and it's not limited to yourself. It is limited nothing anywhere but to all of his creatures and all of life in thy land. And thou shalt number 7 Sabbaths of years unto thee, 7 times 7 years, and the space of 7 Sabbaths of years shall be unto thee 49 years. 7 times 7 is 49. By the time you're 49 years old, you're done toiling the earth. You become a master and you start teaching. Then shalt thou cause the trumpet of the jubile to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month. In the day of atonement shall ye make the trumpet sound throughout all your land. You start teaching by singing the Lord's song in praise, for thou hast abided his law and seen the prosperity in all that it provided. And ye shall hallow the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubile unto you, and ye shall return every man unto his possession, and ye shall return every man unto his family. Anybody working for you in that tenure no longer works for you. He also has made his atonement. Period. Even if that man only worked for you for 1 year. A jubile shall that 50th year be unto you. Ye shall not sow, neither reap that which groweth of itself in it, nor gather the grapes in it of thy vine and dress. This is your prosperity. Like I said, you are no longer to sow. You are to teach. And those that now sow provide for you in that teaching. For it is the jubile, it shall be holy unto you. Ye shall eat the increase thereof out of the field. In the year of this jubile ye shall return every man unto his possession. And if thou sell aught unto thy neighbor, or buyest aught of thy neighbor's hand, ye shall not oppress one another. It shall be equal consideration, equal benefit, with no detriment. According to the number of years after the jubile thou shalt buy of thy neighbor, and according unto the number of years of the fruits he shall sell unto thee. Thou shalt buy of thy neighbor, and according unto the number of years of the fruits he shall sell unto thee. This is a term of barter and trade. For there is no money. According to the multitude of years thou shalt increase the price thereof, and according to the fewness of years thou shalt diminish the price of. This is your experience. Somebody that's developed a country or a company here recently that has only been under development for 6 years has an idiotic requirement for 16 years of experience to come into their 6-year company. How dare they? How dare they not diminish their price? How dare they? For according to the number of years of the fruits doth he sell unto thee. If you've only got 6 years under your belt, you better make sure you only have 6 years of price. Ye shall not, and be glad if somebody comes of 16 years experience. Be glad enough to pay him extra, but not make it a requirement. Ye shall not therefore oppress one another, but thou shalt fear thy God, for I am the Lord thy God. Wherefore ye shall do my statutes, and keep my judgments, and do them, and ye shall dwell in the land in safety, and the land shall yield her fruit, and ye shall eat your fill and dwell therein in safety. And ye shall say, what shall we eat the 7th year? Behold, we shall not sow, nor gather in our increase. Then I will command my blessing upon you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth fruit for 3 years. Done right, your first year may not be productive, but the experience gained and the fortitude to go forth into the 2nd year, you might produce. In the 3rd year, you've got to hang on it and you produce what you're supposed to produce. In the 3rd and 4th year, you produce accordingly and see an increase each year, knowing you are exercising your knowledge, experience, and wisdom in prosperity and abundance, the increase of your own self. You should be able to see it. And by the 5th and 6th year, that abundance brings forth fruit for 3 years. And ye shall sow the 8th year, and eat yet of old fruit until the 9th year, the 7th and 8th year, until the 9th year. So what about the first 3 years, 8, 9, 10 of the next years? Where was the sojourneth? And the Sabbath of the land shall be meat for you, for thee, and for thy servant, and for thy maid, and for thy hired servant, and for thy stranger that sojourner with thee. So that prosperity and abundance of the 8th, 9th, and 10th year go to your maids, your milkmaids, your servants, and your sojourners with thee. The land shall not be sold forever, for the land is mine, for ye are strangers and sojourners with me. Ye are strangers, just like the strangers you're supposed to provide for. Why? Because ye are strangers and sojourners with me. He provides you, you provide him. How do you provide him? You don't provide him with the sacrifice of a dead animal, spewing blood all over and burning it. You provide him by providing the life sustenance to the other strangers that are sojourning with ye. And in all the land of your possession ye shall grant a redemption for the land. If thy brother be waxen poor and hath sold away some of his possession, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall he redeem that which his brother sold. You are redeemers in your prosperity and abundance, to give that prosperity and abundance to he who is waxen and poor, to the mothers who have no husbands, to the women with children who have no fathers because they've been killed in war or are off working in slavery. And if the man have none to redeem it, and himself be able to redeem it, then let him count the years of the sale thereof, and restore the overplus unto the man to whom he sold it, that he may return unto his possessions. But if he be not able to restore it to him, then that which is sold shall remain in the hand of him that hath bought it until the year of Jubile. He has the right to take what has been sold to him and make his profit first, for that was the intent of the sale. And in Jubile it shall go out, and he shall return unto his possession. And if a man sell a dwelling house in a walled city, who owns that block? Remember I was talking about the block? Who owns the block? then he may redeem it within a whole year after it is sold. Within a full year, he may redeem it. You have a year to fix the record, people. You have 1 year to correct the record. That is the term of all courts. I discussed this at the very beginning of my education 4.5 years ago. The term of all courts is 1 year. You have 1 year to redeem the land, to bring forth the land patent, and prove that it shall not be sold forevermore. For it is his land, not anybody else's. And if it not be redeemed within the space of a full year, then the house that is in the walled city shall be established forever to him that bought it throughout his generations. It shall not go out into Jubile. So, if the one that proclaims to be owning it is a tax assessor, a government entity, a commercial entity, then what is their claim? It is null and void. But the houses of the village which have no wall around them, but shall be counted as fields of the country, they may be redeemed, and they shall go out in the Jubile. These are your rural country homes, people. Notwithstanding the cities of the Levites and the houses of the cities of their possession, may the Levites redeem at any time. By purchase, by sale, not by redemption. And if a man purchase of Levites, then the house that was sold and the city of his possession shall go out in the year of Jubile. For the houses of the cities of Levites are their possession among the children of Israel. But the fields of the suburbs of their cities may not be sold, for it is their perpetual possession. Anyone making claim as a Levite on a city, a possession of a city, the houses therein, if you wish to remove it, you have to remove it from the tax rolls by your redemption and prove that the city is bound by the field, not the city, not the field bound by the city. You have to bring the field back into the cities, people. You have to let these people know those cities are for houses. But the land underneath those houses is mine forever. But the field of the suburbs of their cities may not be sold, for it is their perpetual possession. And if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee. Otherwise, he will die in the city of Levites, as we see all the time. Like I said, the motor vehicles are a key. These people pull you over in an automobile that you firmly believe is yours, which is actually conveyed under a lease. And that lease, you turn around and hand them driver's license, insurance, and registration, proving that there's a lease and that you are the lessee. And therefore they are Levites, and you have given them information proving that you too are a Levite. 36, take thou no usury of him. No usury or increase. This is profit, not prosperity. But fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, nor lend him the victuals for increase. I am the Lord your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt. The going out and the coming in to give you the land of Canaan and to be your God. To be your God. So long as you accept his oath, not the oath of another man. And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant and be sold unto thee. Feel free to purchase people, but upon that purchase set them free. They are to be redeemed. And if a man purchase of the Levites in the house that was sold in the city of his possessions, shall go out in the year of Jubilee. They are to be redeemed. And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor and be sold unto thee, you police officers, you judges, you administrators, you family court disciples, you child protective service people, who then compel them to serve as bondservants under your bonds? How dare you? You kidnap thee you kidnap thee for the emolument of compensation of profits. But as an hired servant and as a sojourner, he shall be with thee and shall serve thee unto the year of Jubile. And then shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him. You see that? And shall serve unto thee a year of Jubile. Unto thee, not with thee. You relieve him of his binds. You let him go free and make his own choices. If he makes those choices and shall serve thee unto the year of Jubile, then he and his children with him shall depart from thee, and shall return unto his own, and unto the possession of his fathers shall he return. For they are my servants unto his own, unto thee. You are a servant as well. So if you take another one under servitude of yourself by purchasing him, he is free under the servant of him. Which I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as bondmen. Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but shalt fear thy God. I'm going to let you read the rest of it yourself. But the import here is to quit exporting him by holding him here. That's the problem. You want direction? Don't ask me for direction. I'm going to tell you all kinds of rules. But what I will show you is how they're uniform, so that you can come to peace with yourself and quit going by directions. He's a sojourner with thee at all times, right beside you. If you don't recognize that and you walk into a court and they address the person and you don't let them know, excuse me, as soon as you hollered out that name, that calling of Keith, you've already called upon the Spirit of God, and he is with me at all times. Let me clarify, is that a direct order? Let them try to convince me that they have a direct order that applies to me, and I'll show them what direction it goes. In the meantime, I'm going to put my other forum links on here. I hope you check them out. I hope you share this video. I hope you share the videos on my other forums. I hope you share my other forums. But I'm also going to put my PayPal link. Please feel free to hit that PayPal button and send me some love. I really need it. Could use it. And other than that, despite that, whether you do any of that, I'm still going to keep doing what I'm doing. Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. God bless y'all. Have a great day.